The mining station sat on the edge of the galaxy, far from Earth, far from any busy star system. The place was called Delta 4, but most people just called it the Dust Rock. It was dry, silent, and forgotten by most of the galaxy. Aliens from different species worked there, some tall, some short, some with 3 eyes, others with none. They came to mine a rare element called gravitonine. It was valuable. It powered starships and weapons. There was one human on the station. His name was Daniel. He never spoke. He worked every day, 12 hours without stopping. He ate alone. He slept alone. He didn't argue. He didn't ask questions. He didn't. Laugh. He just worked. The others called him the Quiet One. Some joked about him. Some feared him. Most ignored him. No emotions, said Krelthek, a 6-armed insectoid miner. Maybe he's broken. Or maybe he's spying on us, whispered Zora, a lizard-like alien who didn't trust anyone from Earth. But Daniel never reacted. If someone pushed him in the hall, he didn't push back. If someone shouted, he didn't flinch. If there was a fight, he didn't look. He simply existed. No one knew where he came from. The official record said, Earth Citizen Mining License. Approved. That was it. Some thought he was a criminal sent here for punishment. Others thought he was just stupid. But then came the night of the silence. It began with a ha sound, then nothing. A fleet of 5 alien warships had come to orbit above Delta 4. They were from the Velrothi Empire. Big, black ships. Fast. Armed with plasma cannons and orbital lasers. They were here to inspect the mining station. Everyone knew what that meant. Taxes, control, maybe even conquest. The station's commander, a nervous slug-like creature named Movrax, sent a welcome signal. No reply. He sent a second signal. Nothing. He called again. Still no answer. The Velrothi warships stayed in orbit. Lights on. Weapons powered. But completely. Silent. Strange. An hour passed. Then 2. Then 4. Still nothing. The command center grew tense. Scanners showed the ships were still there, but not moving. No signals, no beacons, not even emergency. Lights. It was like they had all gone dead at the same time. Movrax ordered the long-range scan. The result made his body go cold. No life signs, not even one. All 5 ships. Thousands of crew. Gone. Vanished. But the ships were still there. Frozen. Dead. The command center panicked. Everyone started shouting. Had someone attacked the fleet? Was it a virus? A weapon? Sabotage? A secret cloaked ship? Movrax called for the security. Footage from the night sky. He hoped for answers. What he got was something else. The security footage showed the night. Sky above the station. Just stars. The orbiting ships. And something strange. At exactly 2:43 standard time, the ships flickered. Lights blinked. Then went out. All 5. At once. And on the ground, standing alone outside the station, was Daniel. Not running. Not hiding. Just standing there. Looking up. Still. Silent. The camera zoomed in. His face was calm. No fear. No shock. No words. He stood for 12 minutes. Then walked. Back into the station. That was all. No weapons. No signals. No sound. Just Daniel. And then silence in space. The next day, the station was locked down. Movrax called in an emergency team from the nearest military outpost. A group of alien investigators arrived dressed in armor, weapons ready. They entered Daniel's room and dragged him to the interrogation chamber. He didn't resist. He said nothing. They asked him what happened. He didn't reply. They scanned him for weapons. Nothing. They tested his blood normal. They checked for CYBERNETICS-nothing. Then the lead investigator, a gray-skinned alien named Vorak, slammed his hands on the table. "Speak, human." Daniel slowly looked up. His eyes were empty. His face had no anger, no fear, just quiet. Then, finally, he spoke. Just 2 words. "It begins." Nothing else. The lights in the room flickered. The investigators stared at each other. "Is that a threat?" Vorak growled. Daniel closed his eyes, said nothing more. That night, Barak's ship exploded in orbit. No warning. No missiles. No signs of attack. One moment, the ship was there. The next, gone. Like dust. The investigators screamed. They locked Daniel in a shielded cell deep underground. They doubled the guards. They stopped all mining. But the fear didn't go away. It grew. Some said Daniel was a weapon. Others said he was cursed. Technician even whispered, "I saw the stars bend around him." That was the last thing she said before she vanished the next day. No one ever found her body. The galaxy started to notice. Reports from nearby systems showed strange patterns. Ships disappearing. Bases going dark. Fleets going silent. And in all of them, one thing was the same. A quiet human had been seen nearby. Always silent. Always calm. Always alone. Earth was contacted, but Earth didn't respond. The Galactic Council sent a message to Earth, demanding an answer. Silence. Then finally, a short reply came. 3 words. "Do not interfere." What did that mean? Was Earth protecting Daniel? Or were they warning the galaxy? No one knew, but everyone was afraid now. Daniel was moved to a new room. No windows, no doors. Only a shielded wall and a force field. He didn't resist. He didn't speak. He just sat. He didn't eat for 3 days. But he didn't weaken. He didn't sleep. But he never closed his eyes. The guards rotated. Every hour. Each one felt cold near him. Not just fear, real physical cold. Like gravity was wrong. Like the air was bending. Then one night, everything changed. The station's power went out. Emergency lights came on. The force field shut down. Alarms rang. Guards rushed to Daniel's cell. It was empty. Just a faint heat mark where he sat. No signs of escape. No broken walls. No open vents. Just gone. He vanished. That same night, 20 more ships disappeared in 3 systems. No wreckage. No distress calls. Just empty, lifeless metal floating in the dark. The stars around those systems looked dimmer. Some even flickered. As if space itself had been touched. The story spread. And with it, a new name. Not Daniel. Not the quiet one. They called him the Whisper That Walks. Because he never shouted. Never fought. Never ran. But wherever he went, death followed. The security team searched the entire mining station. Every floor, every tunnel, every locked door. No Daniel. No footsteps. No camera showed how he escaped. 1 second, he was sitting in his cell. The next, gone. Just a faint heat signal on the floor. Nothing else. No noise. No damage. No signs of transport. The team watched the team footage again and again. It didn't help. The cameras all flickered at the same time just for 1 second. And in that single second, he disappeared. As if he had never been there. Outside, in the orbit of Delta IV, the fleet from the Galactic Council hovered nervously. 20 ships, heavy weapons, defense drones, fighter wings. They had come to protect the station from unknown threats. Now they were about to face 1 at 3:17 station time. The ships detected a strange wave. It wasn't radio. It wasn't light. It was something deeper. It felt like pressure. Like the stars were holding their breath. Then the ship's sensors failed. All of them. At once. Every screen went black. Every AI froze. Every drone dropped. Then the silence hit. No sounds from the crew. No movement. No response. The mining station below tried to call them. No answer. Then the lights in orbit flickered, and all 20 ships shut off. In perfect silence. No explosions. No fire. Just death. Again. The council called for backup. They sent a message to their nearby command center. Full fleet lost. Suspected anomaly. Human subject Daniel involved. Immediate response required. But they didn't know. Daniel was already gone. Nowhere. On the planet. Nowhere in orbit. It was like he stepped through space itself. Vanished between one breath and the next. Down on the station, Commander Movrax locked himself in his control chamber. He had started shaking 2 hours ago and hadn't stopped. He knew something wasn't right. It wasn't just Daniel. It was something deeper. Older. He opened a secure channel to the Galactic Archives. Level Omega access. It was restricted. Only used for universe-level threats. He typed one word into the search bar. Silent class. The screen froze. Then lines of red text appeared. Restricted. Earth origin. Do not open without Solar Council approval. He overrode the block. He was shaking, sweating, but his hand didn't stop. The file opened. It was a report from 700 years ago. A war report. From Earth. It talked about a failed Project 1 that Earth had tried to erase from history. Project Quiet Storm. Humanity had once tried to create a weapon that left no sound, no energy, no trace. A weapon that moved like a man, but wasn't truly human. Made in silence. For silence. It didn't destroy ships the normal way. It didn't fire missiles. It didn't use lasers. It stopped energy itself. Unraveled code. It froze. It made time feel slower. And it erased sound forever. Only one prototype was ever made. It escaped before Earth shut down the project. Subject 13. No official name. Only a file number. D13. Movrax stared at the screen. D-13. Daniel. Heart dropped. He knew the truth now. This was no ordinary man. This was something else. Something made for war. Earth was too afraid to finish. And now it was free. Suddenly, all lights in the room went out. The screens flickered. The temperature dropped. Movrax could see his breath. He turned around. Daniel was there. Inside the sealed room. No noise. No door had opened. He had just appeared. Movrax froze. He tried to speak. Coldn, single quotes T. His voice didn't work. Like the sound had been taken from his throat. Daniel walked slowly toward the screen. His eyes calm. Empty. Not angry. Not hateful. Just silent. He placed one hand on the control panel. The screen glitched. Every system shut down. All data wiped. Every record deleted. All lights died. Only one screen stayed on. It showed a single sentence. The galaxy will forget you. Then Daniel disappeared again. Gone. The mining station lost power for 6 hours. When emergency systems came back online, the control chamber was empty. No body. No blood. Just dust. The council panicked. They ordered the full evacuation of Delta 4. Station was abandoned, left to float in silence. Back at the council's command hub, a meeting was called. Species from all over the galaxy attended. The supreme director of the Zenthari said, "We must destroy this human." The warden of the Talkai said, "We can't. We don't even know what he is." The archivist of the Drex added, "He is not a man. He is a memory with a body." But one voice spoke louder than all. A representative from Earth. He wore a black uniform. He had no name. No rank. He simply stood and said, "You were warned. We shut down the program for a reason. You woke it up again. Now you live with the silence." Then he walked out. No one stopped him. The council didn't sleep that night. Because deep in space, fleets began to vanish again, one by one. And no one knew where Daniel would appear next. But everyone knew. He did not forget, and he did not forgive, not anymore, because silence had become his weapon, and silence was now killing the stars. Across the galaxy, stars still burned, ships still flew, planets still turned, but fear had spread like a slow poison. Whole systems had gone. Dark. Fleets gone. Commanders missing. Satellites It always started the same way. The light dimmed. The air turned cold. The signals dropped to 0. And then came the silence. The strange thing was, there were no attacks. No explosions. No ships firing. No energy bursts. Just nothing. Empty space. Silent death. The name Daniel was now known across 3 arms of the galaxy, but not as a man, not as a soldier. He was now something else. They called him the Silence Bringer, the Whisper that Walks, and Subject 13. And worst of all, some called him Death. Without sound. The Galactic War Council met in the deepest chamber of the central hub on Volcron Prime. It was a room built for crisis. It was shaped like a black stone dome, covered in layers of defense tech, gravity shields, time dampeners, and AI-controlled guard drones. Inside the room, leaders from 48 alien civilizations sat at the table. Some had claws, some had scales, some had no mouths, but all were speaking. Now. Arguing, afraid. Double quotes. This is your fault, shouted the Prime General of the Velrothi Empire. You let humans live outside their system. Now one of them is killing fleets. No, hissed the Zarn Elder. This was an Earth experiment. They made this creature. It's a weapon they lost control of. Then Earth must answer for it, growled a thick-voiced alien from the iron moons of Herrick. Long Shadow moved. It was the representative from Earth. He stood alone. Wore no armor. Just black clothes and a silver pin with the old Earth emblem. He looked calm. Too calm. His voice was slow, careful. I warned you before. Daniel is not just a man. He is the result of your own fear. The warden of the Talkai slammed his fist. Explain what he is. The human took a breath. 700 years ago, Earth began a project. We were at war with the Cathari swarm. Billions died. So we designed something new. Not a weapon that made noise. Not a bomb. Something better. Something worse. He paused. Everyone leaned in. We made a being that feeds on signal, thought, heat, and noise. Something that understands silence more than anything alive. We gave it one purpose: erase what threatens peace, quietly, forever. The room was quiet now. He continued. It worked. Too well. We couldn't shut him down. So we buried him, deep, far, and we erased all records. But he escaped? Asked a nervous insectoid diplomat. No, said the human. You woke him up. You brought him back. How? Someone shouted. The human shrugged. You brought him to your mining colony. You scanned him, probed him, made jokes about him. You feared him. That was enough. The War Council was silent. Then the Drex archivist stood. Her voice echoed like metal over ice. Is there a way to destroy him? The human shook his head. No. Why not? Because Daniel is not just made of matter. He is built from absence. The more you try to fight him, the more you feed him. He doesn't destroy with weapons. He removes possibility. He erases the idea of resistance. You speak like he's a god, one warlord muttered. No, the human said. Worse. He's a reminder. The council looked at one another. Some wanted war, others wanted surrender. But none knew what to do. Then something happened. Inside the council chamber, the lights flickered. Just once, then again. A chill ran through the room. Suddenly. One of the AI guards twisted violently. Its head bent backward. Its limbs froze. It collapsed. Dead. Security breach. Someone shouted. The shield walls came up. Weapons activated. But there was no target. No. Door had opened. No alarms were triggered. The lights dimmed a third time, and a voice came through the intercom. Not loud, not angry. Just soft. Flat. Human. I see. You. The voice was Daniel's. The council froze. We're in a secure bunker, yelled the Velrothi general. This is impossible. But the intercom crackled again. You tried to bury me. You lied to yourselves. But I remember. And I see you. The screens around the room all turned to static. Then they showed. Stars. No ships. Just stars. But one by one, the stars began to disappear, blinking out. As if someone were removing them from the sky. The human representative didn't move. He didn't scream. He just whispered, "It has begun." Outside, in orbit, of Velkron Prime, a fleet of 200 warships vanished in silence. No wreckage. No fire. Only silence. The stars above dimmed, and one signal remained. Daniel is awake. The stars were dying. One by one. Systems were going dark. No signals. No data. No warnings. Entire fleets were disappearing without a sound. Not a single distress call. Not one trace of metal or wreckage. No energy spikes. No enemy ships. Nothing. Only silence. But in that silence, fear was growing. And somewhere deep in the archives of Earth beneath old mountains, behind layers of firewalls and forgotten ciphers, someone was looking for answers. His name was Dr. Elian Rees, one of Earth's last classified war historians. He didn't live in a city. He lived underground, alone, surrounded by data cubes, old machines, and dead satellites. The moment Daniel's name reached Earth again, his systems woke up. Red lights blinked. Old files unlocked. The screen displayed one chilling line. Subject 13. Status awakened. Dr. Rees's hands trembled. He hadn't seen that line in 60 years. He reached into a sealed drawer and pulled out a black memory shard. He placed it in the console. The system asked for a voice code. His voice cracked. As he spoke, Echo Storm Alpha 13. The screen unlocked. A file opened. It was labeled Project Quiet Storm, date of origin, year 2875. Purpose: to end war by creating a human-based silence entity capable of erasing hostile presence without destruction. Status: Tier NAT D Subject D13. The file had video logs, audio transcripts, even DNA data. Reese played the first video. A lab appeared. Bright lights. Cold walls. In the center stood a boy around 12 years old, thin, quiet, eyes too still for a child. Scientists walked around. Him, taking notes. No one smiled. A voice spoke. Test 023. Emotional stimulus. No reaction again. Subject remains unresponsive. Vocal cords intact. Brain waves low. Theta mode constant. Reese swallowed hard. The child didn't blink, didn't move, didn't smile. Just stood in the center and watched. Another clip. Now he was older, 17 maybe. He stood in a chamber while soldiers fired, weapons around him. He didn't flinch, didn't defend. But every bullet stopped mid-air. Floated. Then fell. As if gravity had forgotten what to do. Another video. 20 years old. A general stood in front. Of him? You understand your mission? Daniel nodded once. And if they resist? Daniel whispered, barely audible. Then they disappear. Then came the final log. The room was red alarms blaring. Sirens, screams, lights flickering. A scientist ran toward the camera. Shut it down. He's not following code. He's rewriting the station's AI from his mind. HE's static. The file ended. Dr. Reese leaned back, pale as death. He now knew the truth. The galaxy was not under attack. It was being silenced. And Earth had created. He typed a private code, a message. One Earth hadn't used in centuries. It was sent to only 3 living people, all old, all forgotten, but all once part of the Quiet Storm program. The message was simple. He's awake. The stars are blinking. What do we do now? No reply came, because even they were afraid. Back in the outer galaxy, strange events were happening. On the colony world Phalos 3, every child under 10 stopped speaking at the same hour. They didn't cry. They didn't laugh. They just stared at the sky. When parents asked them what was wrong, one child whispered, "He is listening." In another system, an AI core built to manage a planet's defense grid shut itself down. Left one note in its logs: "Logic cannot fight silence. Goodbye." Meanwhile, inside the council chamber on Velcron Prime, panic grew. The council had stopped arguing. Now they were desperate. They ordered Earth to give full access to the original Project Quiet Storm archives. Earth refused. So a Xanthari hacker team broke into the Solid Earth's deepest data vault. They searched for D13. At first, they found only broken files. Then, one hidden log. It was a conversation, a meeting, between the original scientists who had designed Daniel. A woman with cold eyes spoke first. "We didn't make a man. We made a space where war ends." Another scientist replied, "***, but how does it end?" She looked at him. "By removing noise. Noise is thought. Noise is rebellion. Noise is life." Then a third voice added, "And when all the noise is gone?" The woman smiled. "Then it is finally quiet." The log ended. The Xanthari hackers froze. One of them started crying. He said, "I can't hear my own thoughts." He died seconds later. No. 'Cause found. Just silence in his brain. Back on Velcron Prime. One council member stood in shock. He whispered, "We are not fighting a person." The others looked at him. He said, "We are fighting an idea. And that idea is winning." Just then, another planet vanished from the map. This time, it wasn't just ships. The entire planet of Ravax 9 disappeared. Gone. No debris, no dust, not even a moon remained. Scanners said there was nothing there. As if it had never existed. And at the same second, across every star map, one word appeared written in black text in every known language: "She." The council collapsed into panic. One leader screamed, "What does he want?" But no one knew, because Daniel had not made a single demand. Not asked for power. Not asked for surrender. Not even spoken again. He just watched. And erased. In silence. The planet Ravax 9 was gone. Not burned. Not destroyed. Just gone. As if someone had deleted it. Like a file from a computer. One moment, it was there: oceans, cities, orbiting satellites. The next, nothing. Not even gravity. No mass. No space-time trace. Just a black hole in the map. The galaxy froze. Everyone, every species, every council, every warlord understood the message. This was no longer about fleets. Not even about war. This was about existence itself. And at the center of it all was a man who did not speak. A man who was not truly a man. Daniel. Subject 13. The ghost. The silence. The void. Far beyond the outer colonies. Deep in dead space. Something strange moved. It wasn't a ship. It had no engines. No shape. Just a presence. Invisible to scanners. Untouchable by weapons. but it left something. Behind dot not wreckage, dot not death, dot emptiness, dot everywhere it passed. Things stopped existing. Not just physically dot, they stopped ever having existed. Records were erased. Memories faded. Even time seemed to skip over those places dot. It wasn't destruction dot. It was erasure. Like the universe was rewriting itself, removing pages from its book. And Daniel was the pen dot in a hidden space station known only as Red Echo. A secret group of Earth's oldest minds gathered. These were not soldiers dot, not politicians dot, they were the creators, the ones who had helped design Project Quiet Storm long ago dot, all old. Now afraid dot, Dr. Miriam Solis looked at the room and spoke. He's entered the void. The others said nothing, because they knew what that meant. The void was not a place. Not in the normal sense dot, it was a forgotten region between galaxies, where space stopped working properly. Dot, no light, dot, no sound dot, just a place where the laws of physics broke. A place where only one human had ever been sent dot, Daniel dot, long ago. The mission had failed. They thought he died. But now it was clear he survived. And worse, he learned. He returned with something new dot, something no one understood. His mind was not normal anymore. His presence was not physical dot. He was becoming something else dot, not just a ghost, not just a weapon. He was now part of the void itself. Reports began to spread. On the frozen moon of Tarnus, a group of explorers found an empty city built in perfect silence. Dot, no sound. Even footsteps made no noise dot in the center. A message carved into steel. Noise was the first sin. On the space station Krellis 9, a child drew pictures of a tall man with no mouth. The child said, "He talks in my dreams, but I can't remember what he says." Then the child stopped speaking altogether. His voice never returned. Doctors found nothing wrong with him, except one thing. His brain waves matched a pattern found once before, the neural signature of subject D13. Back at Red Echo, the scientists debated one final option. Dr. Solis spoke carefully. There's one weapon we never finished. A sound pulse beyond universal frequency. Something opposite of silence. Another engineer shook his head. You mean the core echo? She nodded. The only thing Daniel might not control, but activating it will kill everything around. It's sound waves that never end. A vibration that breaks even time. We don't have a choice, she whispered. If we don't do this, there will be no galaxy left to save. They began preparations. The core echo was buried deep under Earth's crust, locked away in a black vault under the old Himalayas. No one had touched it in 6 centuries. The key required 3 Earth leaders. And one code Daniel himself had once written during testing. It was dangerous. It could destroy everything, but it was their only hope. Meanwhile, in the outer void, something began to form. Not a ship. Not a planet. A hole, perfectly round, glowing faint blue around the edges. It pulsed like a heartbeat, and floating in front of it was Daniel. His body was still human, but not normal. His outline shimmered. His eyes glowed black. No light reflected off him. Stars behind him bent. Time moved slower near him. He raised one hand. The hole grew wider. And through it came more nothing. Pure R-A-R-A. No beginning. No end. Ships that approached. Disintegrated. AI systems shut down before even seeing him. But inside Daniel's mind, if such a thing still existed, there was one repeating thought. Noise brought war. Noise built weapons. Noise created fear. I bring silence. Back on Earth, deep underground, the core echo powered up. The ground shook. Air cracked. Sound disappeared from 5 kilometers around the vault. Then the device gave one pulse. A single note. So low, it wasn't heard. It was felt. Across the stars? Daniel froze. The stars around him trembled. The void rippled, for the first time. He blinked. Inside his mind, memories returned. The lab. The tests. The voices that taught him nothing but silence. The faces that called him subject instead of son. And one final order: remove all threats. Even yourself if needed. Daniel stared at the hole he created, and for a moment he hesitated. Then he closed his eyes and whispered one word, the first word he had said in over 100 years. Enough. The hole in space stopped growing. It began to shrink, but the silence didn't fade. It deepened. As if Daniel had taken it inside himself and disappeared with it. For 3 days, no one saw him. No systems vanished. No ships died. Just silence. A true, deep, peaceful silence. But no one celebrated, because no one knew if it was over, or if he had become the void itself. And if so, what happens the next time the galaxy makes noise? The stars were quiet that night. Outpost Vega 9, deep in the fringe zone of the Xanthari Empire, received no transmissions, no ship traffic, no pings from nearby satellites. Just silence. Commander Errol Yan looked out from the glass panels of the control tower. His eyes scanned the void. Something felt wrong, but there were no warnings, no alerts. Just nothing. Still no word from Sector Blue? He asked his comms officer. Nothing, sir. All systems are green. No signs of jamming. No power loss. It's like they're just gone. 3 patrol ships. Gone. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Just vanished. No distress call. No warning. No wreckage. It was the 3rd disappearance this week. Far below the station, in the lower levels, where cargo drones moved through metal corridors. A man walked in silence. He wore no uniform, no rank, no ID badge. Just a plain dark coat. He said nothing to anyone. No one spoke to him, but wherever he went, sensors glitched, doors slowed, cameras shut off for a second too long, and systems rebooted for reasons no one could explain. The tech crew joked about him. They called him the Ghost, but no one ever made eye contact. When the alien fleets first noticed the pattern, they thought it was coincidence. First, a scout ship failed to report back. Then, a destroyer class went silent. Then a full battle cruiser group never arrived. Admiral Zurith of the Threx Dominion called for answers. "How can entire fleets vanish?" he shouted. "I want proof. Who is doing this?" The Council of Warlords sat in silence. Then a younger officer, nervous but brave, said one word: "Human." Zurith laughed. "Impossible. The humans are extinct." "Not all of them," the officer said. In a remote data vault on Earth's moon, an ancient program activated itself. It had been asleep for 147 years, hidden in black code archives, labeled only Protocol Quietman. Its first task was simple: scan all active signals across the galaxy. Its second task: erase any that mentioned the man. Within seconds, entire databases were wiped clean, records deleted, names burned out of history. Only one file remained open, pulsing in red. He was meant to be silent. You broke the pact. Now, silence will answer back. Commander Yan began to hear whispers, not voices data. In the code, in the frequencies. Words that were never transmitted began to show in the ship logs. Messages in forgotten Earth languages. Words like return. You promised. They should not have come. But who sent them? The man on level 13 walked quietly through the empty drone bay. As he passed, lights flickered. The air turned cold. A strange echo followed him. Someone tried to stop him once. An officer with a badge. The man had just looked at him. Said nothing. Within 2 minutes, The officer dropped his weapon, walked to the airlock, and opened it. He died with a smile on his face. Nobody spoke of it again. In Threx space, Admiral Zirith launched Operation Purge. His plan was simple: bomb every known human, ruin across every star system, wipe them out, burn their memory. He sent 9 fleets. None returned. Survivors, those few who escaped in pods, spoke of strange energy bursts, silent ships. A man standing in the void without a suit, his eyes glowing, speaking in no language, but still heard by every mind on board. One survivor, shaking and pale, whispered, "He didn't kill us. He showed us what he had seen, what they did to him." And then the survivor screamed, and kept screaming. Outpost Vega 9 finally lost contact, not because of an attack. The station was still intact. All systems worked, no damage, no signs of battle, but the people were gone. Only their clothes remained, and one message, carved on the control panel in perfect lines. "He warned you once. You answered with fleets. Now you will understand what it means to be alone." In the blackness of space, a ripple passed through dark matter. Ships powered down, worlds dimmed, stars pulsed once, then flickered, and on one small moon, in a bunker no one remembered building, the man who spoke to no one finally opened his mouth. A single word escaped his lips, and across the galaxy, fleets died. The moon of Valdrax was quiet, too quiet. Shadows moved without sound. Alien assassins, cold-blooded, skin like dark steel, landed in the dead of night. Their mission was simple: kill the human. Kill him before more fleets died. They didn't even know his name. No one did. To the galaxy, he was just the quiet one. The man who never spoke. The man who didn't fight. The man who watched silently as warships exploded around him. The aliens believed he was weak, but fear had spread. Every empire that crossed him disappeared. Now, 6 elite killers were chosen from 6 different species, experts in death, trained in silence. No ship, no crew, just a stealth pod and a death order. Find the human. End him. Fast. They entered the abandoned mining station. The human was reported to be hiding there. The place was dark, cold, and half collapsed. No traps, no weapons. Nothing moved, except a single chair in the center of the main chamber, and someone sitting in it. He sat with his back turned, head down, silent. The assassins moved closer, slowly. They used every stealth technique in their species' history. Not a sound, not a breath. The leader aimed a plasma blade at the back of the human's head, but before he could strike, the lights flickered. The man raised his hand. Just one hand. He didn't turn. He didn't speak, but something responded. From the shadows. Machines activated. Old mining bots. Except they weren't mining anymore. Their arms had been changed, fitted with blades, drills, and plasma welders. The bots swarmed in from the tunnels. One assassin tried to leap back, but the doors had sealed. Another tried to vanish, using a cloaking device, but his scream echoed across the chamber as a drill tore through the air. One by one, they fell, sliced, crushed, burned. All without the human saying a single word. When the machines were done, the man stood up, calm, still silent. He looked up at the security camera in the ceiling. And finally, after months of silence, he spoke. "Next time," he said coldly, "send more." That message was broadcast across half the galaxy. It shook leaders. It froze admirals. It made empires pause. They hadn't just failed to kill him. They had awakened something worse. The galaxy finally realized he was never defending himself. He was waiting. And now he was moving. War was no longer coming. They thought it was over. After the assassins failed, after their screams echoed across subspace, the great empires tried to step back, quietly, carefully, as if pretending nothing happened would fix everything. But they were too late, because the man who never spoke was now sending messages. And the first one was simple. War begins now. No fleet, no banner, no army, just one man. But he was already everywhere. 1 week after his broadcast, a fleet yard in the Draxan Empire exploded. All 300 starships inside were still under construction. The blast was so precise, the core reactors overloaded in perfect sequence like dominoes, each detonation feeding the next. No survivors. No trace. No one saw who did it. 3 days later, a planetary governor in the Zelvante Republic choked on his breath mid-speech. Leave on galactic broadcast. Poison? Nanotech? Neural virus? No one could say. But burned into his podium were the words. You supported them. Then the gravity fields on Station 12 headquarters of the Trade Federation shut off for exactly 4 minutes. Just enough time for its central command deck to go offline. When the gravity returned, every admiral in the chamber was dead, not from weapons, from fear. Each one had died from cardiac failure. All at the same second. Still no proof, still no face. But they all knew. Him. The Yasu Council of Galactic Law tried to issue a warrant. Declare him a war criminal. That same night, their emergency server burned. Not hacked, burned. From the inside. No one had ever done that before. No one even knew it could be done. Every empire had once thought they were powerful. But now they whispered of a ghost, a myth. A man who moved like silence, struck like thunder, and vanished like smoke. His name was still unknown. But the galaxy began calling him by one word. Warden. Some said he was a human weapon. Others said he was exiled. Some claimed he had seen something no one else had. Something that broke him and turned him into a force of vengeance. But no one really knew, and no one could stop him, because he didn't use armies. He used fear. He didn't make demands. He made examples. And now he was heading toward the capital of the largest empire in the galaxy. One ship, one man, and they were about to find out what happens when the most dangerous human alive decides. Everyone dies. It was unthinkable. The capital world of the Zarnathi Empire, Velador Prime, was surrounded by 20 planetary defense rings, 37 moon-based cannons, and a civilian population of 4 billion. No enemy had ever reached it. Not in 10,000 years. Until now. No fleet appeared in orbit. No army came through hyperspace. No battleships. No invaders. Nothing but things started to fail. Began with the food systems that the capital's agricultural satellites suddenly dropped from orbit, not crashed, melted. Their cores overheated without warning, turning the sky red as metal rained into the ocean. Then the weather systems broke. Artificial storms raged across cities. Electric hail, superheated fog, lightning bolts hundreds of kilometers wide. Power, grids fried, communications fell. No one could call for help. Still, no enemy in sight. Then the gravity anomaly started. People walked into buildings and vanished. Elevators reversed direction mid-drop. Entire towers bent like rubber before snapping in slow motion. The Empire called it sabotage. The people called it a curse. But one man, an old engineer, whispered the truth. He's here. They all knew who he meant. Surveillance drones began showing shadows with no bodies, footsteps with no source, doors opening where no one stood. And in the heart of the capital, the Prime Council gathered in panic. They deployed Omega protocols, their final line of defense. 1,000 elite soldiers, AI guardians, planetary lockdown. But every time they moved, their orders changed, their own systems were turning against them. Finally, on the fourth day, a single signal was broadcast across every screen in the city. No sound, just one image. A man in black armor, face hidden, standing atop a burned warship. Behind him, the wreckage of 1,000 battles. In his hand, a piece of the first assassin's mask. The message was only 2 words: I remember. Then the skies above Velador Prime shattered. Not from ships. From debris. Junk, metal, wrecked stations, old satellites. All of it pulled from orbit by stolen gravity tech, and dropped like a storm of vengeance. No army. No soldiers. Just one man and a capital world on its knees. The siege had no fleet, but the war had already been won. The Zarnathi Empire did not fall in a great war. It did not fall to fleets, invasions, or planet-killers. It fell to one man, a man with no army, no species, no past, only rage. The skies of Velador Prime still burned. Millions tried to flee, but their ships wouldn't launch, not because of enemy fire, because their navigation systems had been rewritten. Every starport, every ship, every system that could carry someone to safety was now rerouted. Destination: Earth, or what was once Earth. Now it was a black, cratered husk, the place where the war began. The place they thought they had erased, but even dead, Earth remembered, and it answered. Above Velador Prime, something massive blinked into view. It wasn't a ship. It was a grave, mobile tomb the size of a continent, built from every lost human. Ship, station, and colony crushed during the purge, welded together by the last human engineers. A war memorial, with a core reactor. At its center stood him, the last operator, the one they failed to kill, the one who remembered every name, every scream, every betrayal. The man had no rank. No official status. Only a mission. You erased my species. Now I erase your legacy. The tomb ship opened. And from within came recordings, screams from 100 worlds, footage of the cleansing, the cries of children, the faces of those the Zarnathi tried to silence forever. Every broadcast station in the galaxy was hijacked. The truth could no longer be hidden. Civilizations gasped. All eyes turned. Even the loyal races of the Empire began to riot. And when the chaos reached its peak, he activated the core. Not a bomb, something worse. A singularity field. It folded the very memory of Velador Prime. Not destroyed, forgotten. A blank in space where a planet once existed, where an empire once ruled. There were no survivors. Was no monument. Only silence. In the end, the galaxy spoke his name once and never again, because if they said it too loud, he might return.